Hi, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies, and this is the Scott Select. So Scott has made release aids, back tension, wrist. It's probably better known for its wrist release aids, thumb and back tension for a number of years. Always been really high quality release aids, and I'm going to say I've never had a Scott release aid fail. And that's saying a lot because release aids fail, right? So I'm going to say release aids generally fail because they're set too fine and they're just sitting on the edge of each other because people have them set to here and that little edge wears and then they fire. Right, so this is the Scott Select. It's a hinge. You can move from click to non-click and it's got adjustment on how fast the click goes off. So there's two little half moons here, one on one side and one on the other, so you can adjust the speed at which the shot fires and when the click fires. To do that, you've got a little screw at the bottom here. Put the Allen key in, this rotates. There's a locking thing on the side. Now, this is the release aid I shoot. It's a Scott Ascent. I've used the same release aid for a number of years. I'm going to say 3 years, and I've tried a whole bunch of other release aids in that time, which I've done reviews on, and I always come back to this just because it feels comfortable. So, the difference between the Scott Select and the Scott Ascent comes in two sizes. It comes in a large and medium. I'm a size medium. I'm an average size bloke, right? So if you've got big hands, a size large. If you've got normal hands, size medium. They don't make it in small to the best of my knowledge. So if you've got like smaller hands, I'm going to say lady hands, kids hands, there are some kids releases on the market or ladies releases on the market for smaller hand sizes. So, right, so this here, this is alloy, this is stainless steel, this is heavy, this is light. The profile is very much the same, except you can adjust your finger here. The first two fingers, the profile's the same and it feels the same. You can see the angle on this finger has been moved downwards to make the release aid more curved, so you can adjust that. Both release aids sell for about the same price. The other thing I'm going to notice, and one thing I really liked about the Scott Ascent, is this finger here, that finger, you can see it's much narrower in the Scott Ascent. And it's got more of a curve back here on it. So now this is not set as fine as my current Scott Ascent, so it may not go off for me, it may not shoot because I need to get my hand around further. It's currently set to a click. I shutter at a click, so just bear that in mind. I'll probably shutter. Now this has a rubber band in here. It comes with some spare rubber bands. My rubber band on my Scott Ascent broke. You can still use it without a rubber band, and I've been using it without a rubber band for 2 years. You can get replacement rubber bands, and I think the rubber bands for braces fit on. They're a little bit hard to fit in. There is a bit of a trick to it, and I can't remember the trick right now, but I remembered I worked out how to do it quickly, but it did take me a little while to work it out. So if your rubber band breaks and you like the rubber band, the purpose of the rubber band, it's just like a self-loading thing there. It's not an issue for me, it just goes back. So let's have it shot. I'm going to say, without shooting this release aid, I like the feel of the Scott Ascent better already in my hand. It just feels the same. Price point, this is $10 cheaper than the Scott Ascent. The Scott Ascent just feels like it's something on my hand. So now, when you try new release aids, get close to the target. The number of times people shoot back tension release aids and punch themselves in the mouth and break their bow when they're trying them for the first time. Look, if you're trying back tension for the first time, it's good to start off on a low poundage bow and just get used to it, or work it on a rubber band, or just work it with a bit of string just so you get familiar with it. Shooting at back tension, when I started, I've got videos on me starting, it scared the heck out of me. I didn't want to do it. I really avoided it for years. It was the best thing I ever did, change into it. It was months of work at close distance, like literally 1 or 2 meters away from the target, just to get familiar. I shot my first tournament and I was scared I was going to miss the target the whole entire time. I didn't miss the target at all once, and I think I shot a personal best the first time I shot the back tension release aid. Now, that's not saying shoot a back tension release aid, okay? It's saying I shot well with it. I think I'd shoot better now with a thumb. This is a really good training aid, but I haven't gone back to a thumb since, so. Okay. Look, I could have kept trying to get this thing to go off. I found this little picky finger too far around for me, so my hand, it felt like I was around further than I wanted it to be. It just felt like it wouldn't want to go off on me. And that often happens. I did an ultra view video on shooting a back tension release aid. I had the same thing. I couldn't get the thing to go off because I've got to kind of move my hand to about there to get it to go off, and it's just in the wrong position for me. Now I'm going to compare it to my Scott Ascent here. So what I'm going to say with back tension release aids, you've got to become familiar with it. It takes time, and this one's second hand. So one of my customers, friends, traded it in because he's like, I didn't like it. Look, he probably didn't shoot it that much, in all fairness. And I'm not having a go at him. I sound like I am. It takes a long time to get used to a release aid. So this is my Scott Ascent. Like, it feels better for me to draw, and it goes off like really quick. I feel like I put pressure on this finger more, and I just feel like it activates my back more. Now, this would feel better, the Scott Select would feel better for me if I move that trigger up further. All right, so if I move that up further, it's just for me. I don't see why I would change from a Scott Ascent to a Scott Select. I don't see why I would do that. Now, for a person who wants a release aid that's adjustable so they can change the way it feels in their hand, moving this finger back more is good if you've got a bigger hand, so it's better for sizing. Moving the trigger, moving this little black thing forward is good if you've got a smaller hand, so it's basically changing the size of your hand. Now, the person who I brought this from, who traded in, he had a bigger hand than me. He's a much bigger person than I am. So it may have suited him, but it doesn't look like it's ever been shot, in fairness. But it's too cold for me to shoot. So with that, that's the end of this review. Look, I like the way the Scott Ascent feels in my hand, for me personally, compared to the Scott Select. There is nothing wrong with this release aid. If I set the trigger to the right point, if I remove the click, I didn't even get to the click. If I move the black thing forward, I would be happy to shoot this release aid. However, I like the weight of the Scott Ascent better than the weight of this. It feels more solid in my hand. And I just like the overall shape of the Scott Ascent a little bit better. It's a little bit more rounded. So this is the Scott Select here is like squarer. This is just what it feels like to me. Where you can see on the, well, liar out of me. It's like here, you can see it's like rounded more. So my little fingers, it's more rounded on the edges here. It just feels really comfortable for me. The weight feels good. I can feel it in my hand. It feels solid. I really like this release aid. So Scott releases. My summary, I sell a lot of releases in my archery shop. Scott, according to some pros, is the best in the business, and when I do these reviews, people are, like other companies are going to see it and go, oh, you're pushing Scott and not pushing our product. That's not the case. other release aids make really good products, right? Which is all really like different and so much more variety than Scott produces. What I'm talking about is the overall quality of the product. I haven't had any failures with Scott. It's just been really good for me. And I'm going to say Scott is not the #1 release company on the market. I'm going to say probably Truebill will sell maybe 3 to 4 times as many Truebills as I do Scott. But they're just really dependable. It doesn't matter which one you go for. The price point is really good in the marketplace, and just no issues with them. So anyway, take a look at Scott when you look at releases, because they're just, yeah, really, really good. And it's not to say don't look at other companies, because absolutely look at other companies, because that's what archery's about. I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Thanks for watching. And remember, when you're trying stuff, you've got to persist with it, and you've got to work at it. Thanks for watching. Bye.